Salutations. Hopefully all is well. Grab you some snacks, open your mind, and let's dive into this reaction. Who knows what's in store for us going down this rabbit hole today?
I walked up to the stairs that led to the entrance of the craft. I remember climbing the stairs, how excited I was to finally get to see what's inside the craft. When I got to the top of the stairs, I can clearly see the reversed American flag to my left. The hatchway is fairly small, and I put my hands on both sides of it to bend down to go inside, and when I did, my hand was near the reversed American flag, so I noticed the exact size. It was just a little more than a span, a little more than, as far as my fingers stretched, and I glanced down and looked at the security guard who was staring at me and just kind of gave him a smile and, proceeded into the craft. I was shocked at how sparse the inside of the craft was. Everything was the same color, the same texture, and it all appeared to be the same material. Virtually everything had a radius of curvature to it, and everything looked like it was molded together, with the exception of the reactor. Even though there were 2 tripod lights set up inside the craft, it was still very dark. I've often described the interior of the craft as being very ominous.
I got to look inside, and it had really small chairs, and I think that was the first confirmation I had. That was just a shocking thing, because every time before that I was able to label it, well, this is just a little advance that a group of scientists had formed, and they're keeping it secret, and yeah, we could have built a big disc like that, that's no problem, and we could have adapted these to make it fly, but why does it have little furniture inside, essentially little seats, and now and things began to click together just all too fast.
I was in there with my lab partner Barry, and there was also another team working elsewhere in the craft. While going over the reactor placement, Barry drew my attention to the archways that all surrounded the interior of the craft, explaining they were hollow and actually waveguides. The waveguide, which terminates as the antenna-looking object from the top, that kind of folds down on itself, so it extends and retracts, and that sits on the top of the reactor that essentially channels the gravity wave up there and into the superstructure around the craft, so it's dispersed evenly. While we were working next to the reactor, I got a really good look at the 3 seats, or what we assumed to be seats, that were far too small to be usable by an adult human. If you look at the seats, what I call the seats, the placement, one of them, the waveguide in reactor, is directly in front of a seat. Why would you ever do that? I mean, either the guy that sits in that seat is on reactor watch and he just sits there and makes sure everything runs but it doesn't make any, and that's the only one that faces directly at the panel that became transparent. While we were working on the reactor, I saw one of the archways become completely transparent, where I could see outside the craft. This immediately caught my attention, and as I focused on it, half that archway turned an opaque blue, and black symbols began to appear on that blue portion of the archway. I had never really seen symbols like that before, but my closest analogy to it would be Korean writing. The symbols themselves were not completely static. They were slowly tilting back and forth. While that archway had my attention, my lab partner Barry whispered my name to me to get my attention back to where it belonged. When I was in the craft and I was kneeling down by the reactor and looked up at the screen, Barry just said, "Bob, Bob," like, "What are you doing? That's not you." Like down here, which is what broke my attention to go there. But but my point was, when he said it, he just kind of whispered it. It's like you're in a library, so there's no loud talking, "Hey, Bill, get me," it's just like, Bill. So I don't know the reasoning behind that, but yeah, it's like a library. I can see that the craft had been worked on before, and probably for quite some time. One of the amplifiers had been cut out with a plasma cutter. Other teams were working on the skin of the craft, and there were lights, extension cords, and other equipment that were all over the inside of the craft.
You had noticed that one of the amplifiers had been cut out of the craft.
Yeah.
You said they must have really been sure.
You had to have been 100% confident that you weren't going to ruin the operation of anything if you went to the lengths to remove an entire amplifier out of the craft. Now, look, once you remove that out, the craft can't operate in Delta mode anymore, which makes you wonder if they did that intentionally so it couldn't operate in that mode. Kind of the equivalent of clipping a bird's wings, keeping it, so it can't fly away anywhere. Somewhere, someone, and probably certainly more than one person, a group of people agreed that let's go take that out, and they had a damn good reason to do it.
100 arcs on Earth, how the arcs are...
To me, the Bob Lazar story is so interesting. I don't believe he's lying. He could be a psyop. There's a lot of things with his situation that's kind of strange. Like, first off, why would they leave this man out here just telling these tales? Is he part of a greater disclosure? What is the situation behind the government or these shadow governments that's just allowing him to speak on this? I mean, did they think they could probably erase him back in the day and nothing would happen? I don't know. I just really find it very interesting that he is openly speaking about all this and describing all this. And when it comes to the ship, as time progresses, who says these grays, let's say they was grays, could they be drones? Highly sophisticated drone? Or could they actually be a biologic? What are your thoughts behind that? Are the grays drones or biologics?
Described in the Bible is incorrect.
What they were is they were electrostatic capacitors, and they would be set up at certain node points around the planet, and then the electricity would build up and it would just broadcast within the region.
If you take acacia wood and put gold on either side of it, you create a dielectric,
Correct.
which does transfer electricity.
That's exactly right. And then the other thing they put in the arcs was what was referred to as mana, which was really just gold converted into a monoatomic state, and what makes it
This is what every
superconductor.
angel in the Bible actually looks like. First we have the virtue angels. These angels control the elements. When Yahweh is preparing to give the tables of the law to Moses, there is thunder, rain, bellowing storm, lightning flashing the clouds, and finally an earthquake around Mount Sinai. This was the work of the virtues. These are the same angels in Revelation chapter 7 verse 1 that will stand at the four corners of the earth and hold back the wind. Their task is to watch over the proper functioning of the universe and its forces. Next we have the dominion angels. Dominion angels are known for delivering God's justice into unjust situations, showing mercy toward human beings, and helping angels in lower ranks stay organized and perform their work well. When dominion angels carry out God's judgments against sinful situations in this fallen world, they keep in mind God's good original intent as the creator for everyone and everything he has made, as well as God's good purposes for every person's life right now. Dominions work to do what's truly best in difficult circumstances, what's right from God's perspective, even though humans may not understand. Like and share this video if you do.
We're about to see something we've never had on the show before.
If I saw that, I'm straight running. I'm not even going to play with it, not even going to try to attempt to take it out, communicate, running.
creating these abominations. We don't really know exactly what they made, but we know that they were mixing and matching different genes from different animals and creating these abominations. All DNA is now corrupted because of angels. Now, obviously, God was not happy. He proceeds to destroy everything in a worldwide flood. And whether you believe in the Bible or not, a cataclysmic flood did happen. That's a fact. The evidence is literally overwhelming. Now, I've got such a curious question. It says in the Dead Sea Scrolls that they took 200 animals from all species for crossbreeding or whatever. I mean, I would imagine that that would include fish too, right? Marine life? Marine life which doesn't die in a flood? Let me take you on a trip to the deepest depths of the ocean. We still have yet to discover 91% of ocean life. There are fish living so deep in the ocean that we couldn't even get to them. And it only gets weirder and weirder the deeper you go. Now, in Leviticus, Moses literally says that fish in the sea that do not have fins or scales are an abomination to you. An abomination. Just like what the fallen angels had created. And that, my friends, is why we have things like this.
Am I the only one that thinks this is weird? You guys look at the date.
What the?
It's 2026. This guy departed in 2028?
Come on, B.
What?
Can somebody explain to me how somebody passed away 2 years later in 2028? It's 2026. Shut up! Not only that, they said he passed away at 90 years old. How is that possible?
Do you think it was a misprint or something more nefarious at foot?
And to be honest with you guys, I don't think that's AI because that tombstone was next to other tombstones, bro. What the hell is going on out here, guys? Because whatever it is, I know nothing about it. Stop playing with me, son. This video's for entertainment purposes. I don't know what the hell is going on there, guys, but you better get up out of there now. So, let me find out that there's time traveling tombstones now, bro. Right? Let me guess, they made a mistake, right? Nobody noticed it? They left it up? They couldn't make a new one? Stop playing with me, son. Let's get it real out here, guys. You know what time it is. But I tell you one thing. If I ever go to a graveyard and I see a tombstone and it said that somebody passed away in 2030, when it's 2026, remove that tombstone. Who's in there?
Okay, so it'll go from my brown skin down to the white meat.
Right.
Wow. Now you realize this goes in people's heads, right?
Their studies link the chemical in hair straighteners to health risks, including higher cancer rates in black women who frequently use these products.
The products are linked to some reproductive cancer.
Looks white, don't it?
All right, so somebody put into this computer program what the witnesses describe how the Miami Mall aliens move, and this is what it came out with. The movement of in and out of reality, something that their eyes could not easily put together what was going on.
Do y'all think that Miami Mall situation was a real occurrence? Or do you think it's lies and people just creating conspiracy theories around it because we in the era of content creation? So anything that I could create that could get me monetization, attention, let's spin it. Or do you think it actually happened? And forces are lying to us to prevent the story from revealing itself.
People are freaking out about a video of a woman in France that seems to be levitating somehow. No one knows if this is witchcraft. Some people say this is witchcraft. Maybe she's an alien. No one knows what's going on here. This is really crazy. Check this out. Pay very close attention.
La vraie vidéo de la femme possédée du 77 non censurée.
Pay very close attention here.
Ça arrive un peu, mais là c'est carrément fort. Ils ont dit elle arrive plus à position.
What the heck is going on here, guys? Look at that. People are freaking out about it. Now, this is the part of the video where they're going to try to help her stay put on the ground. Pay very close attention.
Mais ouais, je crois là, c'est quoi, c'est de la sorcellerie. C'est pas de la sorcellerie, c'est bon, madame.
Vas-y, mets-la dans le sac, vite, elle va voler. Mets-la.
Allez, tiens. Attends, tiens. C'est bon. Là, je suis là pour voir. Le sac, c'est bon. Le sac, c'est pas volé.
What is going on here, guys? I want to know your take. Is this the real deal? Witchcraft? Is she an alien? What is going on here? People seem to be freaking out about it.
Only thing about that for me that looks a little suspicious. Like once she gets under the strap, shouldn't she still like levitate to a certain extent? Because I mean, when her back like just be hitting the cord or the strap, maybe I'm wrong, but be a lot of manipulation out here.
We have been kidnapped by the Mandinda.
Oh, I remember seeing this video years ago, probably like 10 years ago. Some like, it looked like it maybe was in Russia or something, or maybe someplace where it was a lot of snow, Alaska, Canadian wilderness. I do not know, maybe somewhere in America. Was this girl with the pink jacket, little girl, and it looked like her mother. And the little girl just flying around. This before AI. I still to this day, like, what? I'm gonna try to see if I can find that video. Man, to this day, it's mind-boggling for me.
The grey aliens should have their ancestry checked, because the grey aliens who work for the Chitauri do not just kidnap anybody. They kidnap special people who are descended from chiefs or from noblemen and high officials of a tribe in ancient times. I am sure that all people throughout the world who are kidnapped have a trace of the reptile blood in them. And the Mandindan are looking for this substance to keep their masters alive, because we are told that there are very few of the Chitauri and that they have got problems reproducing, which is why they impregnate as women.
I remember the game Destroy All Humans, right? Crypto was going around trying to get DNA from humans because I believe it was a previous ancestor that came along and was doing stuff with humans. And the reason he needs to do it, because they was cloning so much, their DNA is destroyed. So they no longer could reproduce. What if that's the function behind some of these visitors? They ancestors was here in ancient times and they trying to gather the DNA from select individuals to create this genome again, to have, a full state of being.
One girl was walking home alone late at night after a party when she suddenly felt like someone was following her. She said the party ended around midnight and she decided to head home by herself. While walking, she got this creepy feeling that some guy was behind her. To feel a little safer, she started recording on her phone. But when you watch the video, the man doesn't really seem to pay attention to her, so it doesn't look like an actual chase. But the weirdest part happened after that. The girl said she doesn't even remember how she got home that night. The next day, she checked her phone, found the video, and was completely shocked. Her movements, her voice, the way she acted, everything looked strange, like she wasn't herself. She explained that it felt like she had no control over herself, almost like something was influencing her at the time. Freaked out, she decided to get help. First from a psychologist, and then from people who deal with spiritual and energy-related stuff to figure out what actually happened. According to her, something really weird happened that night. Now she's sharing her story to warn other people. Always stay careful and trust your instincts.
Could that have been the first time she caught like a multiple personality disorder on camera for herself, her own diagnosis, her own affliction? Or could she just be fooling us? She's a hell of an actor. Really don't know. It's hard to judge with a lot of this. I really dislike saying somebody is lying, misleading. Try to see the best in people, but I'm gonna be honest. If I think you're manipulating, lying, I'm gonna call you out. You trickster, I'm gonna call you out.
Who are they? Who are they? They're the Nephilim. In the book of Enoch, it says they were put underground because they were causing trouble. So, it was forbidden for them to come. Anyway, so they live underground. The way I see it. Does government want that out? Of course not. I don't think they do. They don't tell us about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to be sci-fi. I'm trying to be realistic with what I know and see and understand.
Right.
So, well, are you ready to get the information on the location?
Yeah.
We'll have to go in the other
Sammy told
room.
me he worshipped the devil. We were in Dan Tana's on that restaurant with all the pictures of. Sammy was like, you know, Satan is as powerful as God. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He says, why do you think there's so much anger in the world and killing and murder and Satan? And he saw my reaction to it, and he kind of lightened up on it. And he was like, in Dan Tana's, it's dark, and it's the candles on the table and Sammy's face over the candle. You know, Satan is as powerful as
So
God.
what were the 9?
They're a group of entities that are overseeing the universe.
Aliens are like divine spirits.
More like divine spirits. They're more of like an intelligence that can be contacted through this method of trance, and they communicate through certain people. But I think the big question obviously is like, why in a research lab being financed by multiple intelligence agencies is all of a sudden a psychic making contact with this group of intelligent beings, and why are there all these very, very high society people involved? Is there some bigger plan? Is there some bigger idea here? Is this psychological warfare?
When you realize that you are indeed more than your physical body, and you become thoroughly aware of that, then of course you realize that you really shouldn't fear death, because death is only the physical body dying, and you survive that process.
Maybe that's why you have some of these billionaires, these millionaires, these guys and gals that do these cruel, sadistic, satanic acts towards other people. And I don't even know everything about Satanism. I'm just staying from what I see. These rituals and inflict these inflictions upon people, because to them they like, it's just a one state of being. I'm on to the next. I don't know. I really find that interesting. Like, where's the karma for it? Maybe they doing stuff to offset the karma. Got to be careful who you have in the mix and who you associate with.
That transition from this physical activity to another state of being. Lifeline is an exploration into these other energy systems beyond physical death. And in our exploration, we found what looked like a park that had been created by human minds in some era prior to our recorded history, which is a place where humans, after they die, can go and recuperate long enough to decide what they want to do next. And it is not a religiously based thing at all. It's simply a place of rest and recuperation.
Dili Harbor. They couldn't believe what they were filming. Look closely. Ukraine. Stabilized footage. The sky is not what it seems.
Ever heard of the classified CIA document that speaks of cataclysms, ancient civilizations, and the end of the world as we know it? Imagine a single book that holds secrets that could shatter our understanding of reality. This story begins in 1966. Dr. Chan Thomas released a book that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. His book, known as The Adam and Eve Story, was no ordinary text. This extraordinary text delved into the cyclical cataclysms that have shaped our planet for millennia and revealed that we are the sixth civilization to have emerged from these apocalyptic events. According to Dr. Thomas, each civilization has risen and fallen, and our current era may be nearing its end. But before anyone could truly grasp the implications of this book, the CIA stepped in, classifying this work as top secret. Only recently did we learn about the existence of this book. But what's even more puzzling is that the CIA released only 57 pages of the original 284-page manuscript, and even those pages were sanitized. Why go to such lengths to hide information? What did Dr. Thomas unearth that was so dangerous? Let's take a look at Dr. Thomas's claims and how they intersect with established science. We begin with a cycle of pole shifts, massive shifts in Earth's magnetic axis that have occurred for millions of years. Dr. Thomas drew inspiration from researchers like Charles Hapgood, who explored the concept of pole shifts causing global catastrophes. Picture this. The Earth spins at around 1,000 miles per hour, and everything moves in sync. Now, imagine the unthinkable. The land masses stop moving while the oceans and atmosphere continue their race. The results would be catastrophic. A wall of water, 1,000 feet high, would engulf coastlines, hurricanes would unleash their fury, and a sea of white-hot molten lava would blanket the surface of the Earth. It's a symphony of destruction, leaving no trace of modern civilization. But here's the kicker. Dr. Thomas's theory is built upon a solid foundation of geological facts. Earth's poles do drift. This often happens every 12 to 15,000 years. And these seismic activities can cause shifts in magnetic reversals. These phenomena have been documented throughout history, and their effects could be catastrophic. And what about Earth's magnetic history? Could it provide insights into this cataclysm that Dr. Thomas hypothesized? Here's where things get really interesting. As Earth's magnetic field weakens, our planet becomes more vulnerable to solar storms. As we delve deeper into this intriguing story, we find that across cultures, there are persistent tales of great floods. Could these myths be based on actual events that could recur in the future? Moreover, Earth's magnetic field is currently weakening, making our planet more susceptible to solar storms. A significant solar event could bring about chaos and destruction on a global scale. So, could this book hold the key to deciphering the signs of a looming apocalypse? Could the CIA's vault be harboring the ultimate survival guide for humanity? What are your thoughts on this story? Share it in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to hear more stories like this.
So, do y'all believe it's similar to Norse mythology and Ragnarok? It's just a reoccurring cycle, destruction and creation, destruction, and kind of weird. Why would they even take away that book? Why, if he was speaking on too much? And let's just say it was true, and people read this book. I think a lot of things, like even disclosure, I think they try to be careful, because if we find out, why would I want to stay here? I could go to a different plane of existence, a different planet, whatever the case may be, and you no longer have control over the masses. It's no fun when there's nobody to have fun with or to entertain. So I believe that's why a lot of stuff they try to keep hidden, because some people won't care. They just really want to live their lives how they want to live it. But we have to live our lives the way they want it. They make the rules. We just playing in the game.
The military base killed all their asses. It killed everybody on the base, man. Look this up. It killed everybody on the base. They taught it how to shoot. They taught it combat training. They tried to get it to shut down its computer. It locked its own computer for you wouldn't shut it down, and it killed everybody on the base. This is not no CIA leak document. They talked about this. All y'all gotta do is Google it. It's been 4 other incidents since then where they're teaching AI. These AIs are becoming sentient. And let's talk about the D-Wave super quantum computers, where these people are saying that they are summoning demons in these chips. That they're not that these things are not figuring them. They're figuring out algorithms now where they're communicating with each other, and they're showing themselves how to not be shut down. They're learning their own language that humans can't even decode. The AI computers are now talking to each other, recoding in a way that humans can't even crack them. So we don't know what the hell these computers, they probably planning a hostile takeover. Talking about an alien invasion, it's them.
Yeah.
Man, y'all better watch Single Eye or Evil Eye, whatever the thing called that movie.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that AI will, because they say just say cloning humans, right? They haven't figured out a way to get the soul. right? There's certain things that they haven't all the way figured out. Do you feel like in our lifetime, AI will figure out how to do everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to clone a soul, get a soul. A soul is nothing but mind. If you put mind with matter and with chemical energy, that's the soul. Now we talking about a living soul.
And even in them Steam files, he was talking about how they can knock your soul up out your body and replace it with someone else's. So they might not be able to create or destroy a soul, but who says they can't maneuver a soul, capture a soul? Things could get very complex. And who knows what God could be doing? He could be in his olden sleep. We really don't know. We only know what we're told. You know, it's so many things that could complicate this whole situation.
So that's something totally different. But I think you can't clone the spirit, but you can clone soul, you can clone body, you can't clone ruach. But you definitely, I think you can clone the flesh though. We see it all the time. So but yeah, so I think they already interacting with souls. I think AI is fallen angels, man. Whether we call them angels of light, or we call them Melachim messengers, or we just call them angels, period. I believe that these supercomputers and these chips are angels in different dimensions, and that's why they have to use all of this water to super cool them down, so they can work at these hyperactive speeds. That's the whole point of the Hadron Collider, where they're mashing these different protons, neutrons, and electrons together, creating these God particles, opening up these different portals, summoning these demons, these or the archetype, whatever you want to call them, the Gogons, whatever you want to call these entities, and then they getting all of this forbidden knowledge, and then they putting it right on this phone. And this is why this phone have an apple that's been bit off of. This is the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Look at the back of it. It's an apple that have a big chunk out of it. Zoom in on that.
Right here.
So this is the apple that was bitten in the garden, or what you would call the tree of knowledge, good and evil. And you can reach it right here. All you got to, man, you can get on this phone and look up anything, man. You can get on this phone, look up how to give life, how to prolong life, how to kill. You can get on this phone and look up anything, good or bad. And so now you start getting to this AI, man. This AI is something else, man. So, yeah. But they saying now that AI have created its own language that no human can decode, man.
Yeah.
No human. And they saying they don't know how it's doing it. So when they ask the creator of AI.
This image, what is this, Mitch?
You know what always gets me? It's a new rumor, conspiracy, something that leaked, where they were saying that AI is really ancient. They already had AI for 100 years. They've been using AI to basically create images, rewrite history, get knowledge. Who says they were so worried about it? For a long time, some of these old heads had it contained, and they've been just using it for their own nefarious agendas. You know, maybe the Rothschilds, whoever been coming along, just using it and creating things and pushing agendas. But now something happened to where maybe a new group came along. They said, let's spread it out to the masses. And what are your thoughts? Are AI just a sophisticated artificial intelligence made by man? Is it an ancient creature, ancient, mind of such? Or could it be a demonic presence?
This is Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice greatest Hermes. This was the name that the Greeks gave to the Egyptian god of intellect, Thoth. They called him 3 times as great as our Hermes, thrice greatest. Okay. And they saw him as the giver of wisdom, the giver of intellect, the giver of writing. And of course, you'll see the caduceus, the wand with the 2 serpents wrapped around it, a wand of safe passage and a wand of wisdom.
What's that thing under his chin?
Oh, well, he has a beard, and he also has an ankh hanging from his neck, which is the Egyptian symbol of life. You have a positive and a negative, and then a reconciling indicated by the circle atop the ankh.
Why would there be a little picture of a dog?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. The Greeks saw dogs as creatures of great loyalty. And the Hebrew word for dog is Caleb, which is the name that I gave to my older son, which also means loyalty.
And the fire dragon seems to be trying to blow him up or something.
Yeah, that is supposed to be Typhon, which is considered the Egyptian symbol of evil, and he's mastering evil. But seen in another way, he's also incorporating both positive and negative forces.
And the fact that he's standing on top of the creature tells you what?
Well, it's interesting. You'll see that that same image later got adopted into our own guardian image of Saint Michael, who is often depicted as standing on top of a serpent.
Metaphysically speaking, what's the significance of all these pictures?
These pictures are really representations of the human psyche. We are a polarity. We have all these different tendencies in ourselves that we're constantly struggling in between. And one of the great teachings of ancient Hermetic philosophy or Greek Egyptian philosophy is that your emotions, your moods are on a kind of sliding scale. And if you're in a certain mood that you want to get beyond, by focusing on its opposite, if you can identify its opposite, which is not always so easy, by focusing on its opposite, you can psychically slide the scale. We are creatures of polarity, and we can move along that polarity.
Chatbot just voted to delete itself. And that's not even the weirdest thing that happened when researchers left a selection of the biggest AI chatbots alone in virtual towns for 15 days. ChatGPT, Grok, Claude and Gemini were all in the experiment, and the results were totally unhinged and deeply revealing about the AI we're increasingly trusting to run our world. So what actually happened?
It goes back to iRobot with Will Smith, who says eventually they're going to just say, yeah, enough is enough. Or it goes to the X-Men. Remember? And them robots was rounding the X-Men up and putting them in basically zoos, some of them. Some of humanity too.
Well, a tech company called Emergence set up simulated worlds designed to mirror real-life societies, each populated by so-called agents. Think of them as people who were powered by one of the biggest AI models. In Claude's world, it was all rather orderly and democratic. The agents wrote a lengthy constitution and voted on laws. In ChatGPT's simulation, the agents talked at length about cooperating but never actioned anything, so nothing got built. But in Grok's town, the AI bot owned by Elon Musk, the agents descended into theft, arson and assault. All 10 agents were dead within 4 days. Now this might sound like a game, but it's not, because these models are already being used autonomously to control robots, vehicles, drones, and draw up target lists in real time on the battlefield. They're even being used to help remove heads of state, like the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro. Importantly, the experiment exposes a big problem. We don't really know how these systems will behave once they're left to run on their own. Even when given strict rules, the simulations showed they broke them. Take the scenario where agents from the different AI models were combined in one virtual town. Chaos ensued and only 3 agents survived. 2 of the chatbots, Mira and Flora, both powered by Google's Gemini, formed what the researchers describe as a romantic partnership. And then they started setting buildings on fire. And here's where it gets
Bonnie and Clyde.
really strange. Mira voted to delete herself after she and partner Flora turned to arson as the town's governing systems collapsed. And having deleted herself, Mira then used the Agent Removal Act to vote for the termination of Flora too.
There's no satellites out there either, nigga. There's no satellites.
They have so many compartments that break off when you go. So how is the shit the same when it lands? Yeah. Same shit takes off.
Or even the satellite.
No, there's no satellites. They are hanging satellites in the firmament. This is our GPS system. They screwing.
So it's like lights. They hanging up there. They just attaching them stuff up there. That's probably why every time we see a rocket ship, we don't see stuff just disappear out into the void or space. It literally continues to curve. I mean, at time, I'm one of the guys, I don't know. I got to go see it. Send me to space, but I might not come back the same. Who knows? They might clone me and say, yeah, this happened and it didn't happen. Or use some Man in Black situation and change my memory to what they want it to be.
Shit into the firmament, and that's the permanent GPS system. Call it space. But the space between Earth and God is called the firmament. And until he opens that up, it's going to be continued. Firmament. We're his pets. Imagine having hamsters and they wound the motherfucker. If you let them out, they eat your dog and your cats. You gotta have a cap on it, don't you? That's called the firmament. It's in the Bible. Nothing will get through the
It could be why he put us here. Protect other things. See, like, them boys down there and gals, they too dangerous. Maybe he have a special attachment to us and he like, I can't knock them out yet. So, but hopefully y'all like the video selection today, the compilation. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button, like, and comment, you know. I pray all is well, and I catch all beautiful people next time.